Hi everybody and welcome back. First of all, I want to say a huge thank you for all the loving that you guys sent my way for last week's video where I showed you how to make my Kría shawl. This one here, and really, I mean, there are like hundreds and hundreds and possibly thousands of Krias in the making now, and I love seeing all of them. So do check out our group over on Facebook. It's filled with Kría shawls. Such a nice, lovely summer project. And to build on that, today what I'm going to show you is how to make with the same pattern, the Kría pattern, the Kria Bib. Isn't it cute? So this is one of my go-to baby gifts. It's so quick and easy. I love making these. And you can make them in two sizes. This is the little itsy bitsy one for just newborns, and then there's a bigger version for toddlers. And actually these work really are really cute bandanas for if you have dogs as well. I've already photographed my dog with his bandana, his Kria bandana. But these are bibs. But these are great for those baby gifts that we always need. And so cute to make a little bib and maybe buy a onesie that fits the color, and you know, and you're all set. And it's a really fun, quick project, and it's the same pattern as the Kria, just with small little extras. And I'm going to show you that all today. So today, actually, I'm going to go just a bit slower with the Kria. I'm going to show you the whole 10 rounds for the tiny one and how to make the strings and all the finishing. So that is today's project. And I am going to do a little raffle in my group over on Facebook. So if you want to check that out, I have one extra whole skein of this beautiful Shapes worm that I used for my Kría shawl. I have, full disclosure, made one. There was a small fail in the other video that I needed to get another skein just to make one extra tassel. So I have made one tassel from this skein, but you get the tassel with it. That's the raffle prize. Full skein with one made tassel. So this is enough to make one beautiful Kría shawl like the ones that I made. The one that I made, and I love this color. I've used it so much this summer. So the entry for the raffle over on Facebook is to make one Kria Bib with this video. Post a pic there in comments and you could be the lucky winner. Whee! So much to tell you today. So that's what we're going to do today. But I am, like I told you, I'm ducking on it now. And I have already planned next week's video, and as you can maybe see here behind me, what is going to happen is I'm going to show you how to make these little rope baskets, which I absolutely love. I made these years back, and actually had the pattern or the instructions all written up in English, in Icelandic. Now I've translated them, so I will publish the written instructions, and there will be a full video, and these are the ones that I'm going to show you how to make. Aren't they pretty? I love these. Such quick, nice gifts. Again, I'm obsessed with making like small, quick projects during the summer. You don't want to have something like heavy on top of you, a blanket with all this heat. Although that's not a problem in Iceland, but then. So we're going to be making these here next week. And just so that you can be prepared, so you can crochet along, I just want to show you what you'll need. So we're going to be working, this is the base that we need. I use this bobbiny yarn. It's it's called the braided cord yarn. You can use any type. This is just what I use because I have it here. In Iceland, you can get this in Hagkaup, for example. And then you need a fabric stiffener. And again, obviously cotton scraps for the colorful stuff. And before that, yeah, I want to show you. I just made this one last night. It's so cool, isn't it? Oh my god, I can see many, 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 many of these in my future. If I could only manage to keep the plants alive. But they will probably be way happier in a beautiful pot like this, right? And you can even go like really big. Like this. This is my basket that I use for my cotton stash. So you can go all sizes, and it's very exciting. So as always, I'm getting ahead of myself. I'm showing you the Kria Bib today, and I'm just excited about what I'm going to do next. But it's all good fun. So today I'm going to show you the Kria shawl. I'm going to be using this here, the Alba cotton from BC Yarn. And it's really, you can just use scraps because, you know, from one of these I get like 3 or 4 bibs. You could use Katona as well, whatever fingering weight cotton you have lying around. And these are beautiful, quick little projects. So I hope you will like them and that you will give it a go and then post a pic over on Facebook in the group and see if you win the raffle prize next week. So that's it. I've talked a lot. I'm getting looks from the cameraman. Probably forgetting something, but yeah. The Kria pattern is all, we have discount code at the end of the video, and that is valid on the website until the end of this month. So you can still get it half off if you want. So let's do this, the Kria Bib. Whoop whoop, let's go. Hey! Okay, so now I have, in the last tutorial I showed you how to make the Kria shawl. And although this is a very simple little pattern, I always like versatility in my patterns. So this one you can make as a bib as well. So it's, I love these to making for, what do you call in English? Like a newly born, when a friend has a baby, when a family member has a baby, newly born gift. Because they're really quick, only takes like half an hour to make one. So I will often make a pair and maybe pair it up with some nice onesies or something. Yay, such fun. So, and these here are 2 sizes actually. And so this is the standard one according to the pattern. Usually I will make this one here. It's 12 rows, and then but sometimes I will do it like another one. This is only 10 rows, and these are nice for just like the really just newly born. So but really you can just stop after any even number row that you want. So, and what I use for this, you can use any cotton yarn that you like. You want to take care that it is yarn that you are allowed to wash, you know, in the machine, because let's face it, it's a bib, it's going to be used, it's going to be drooled on. So you want to be able to throw it in the machine. So what I use here is this lovely Danish organic cotton called Alba from BC Garn. You can use, again, any fingering weight cotton that you like, just something that's suitable for a 3mm hook. And if it's a bit thicker, then again, you can just stop after 10 rows, for example, or any even number rows. So you can make it as big, as small as you like. But these here, this one is 10 rows in this yarn, and this is 12 rows. And here I just made one like accentuating, sort of like a, just for fun, to make it a bit more poppy. So I'm just going to show you how to make it, and it's almost the same as the shawl, just slightly different here at the beginning of and the end of the row. And then obviously we're going to add the strings so that you can tie it up, and then we also do a border here. Okay, so let's get to it. Whoop. Obviously, apart from your yarn and hook, you just need a darning needle and some small scissors, but that's sort of a given, isn't it? So let us start. We start with a magic loop and the first row, and the magic loop is just you just make this little circle. Oops, just use yarn where it's not. Yeah, just do this little circle in your like so, and you want to have the short tail going to the left and the long tail going to the right. Okay, it's just like this. Just cross it over and make a small circle like this. And the only difficult bit with the magic loop is just you want to hold on to the join here until you've done the first stitch. Okay, so we're going to insert our hook inside the magic loop, and we're going to fish out the long tail, and then you want to grab it with your other hand like this. Okay, and it's good to just grab it like this then, both sides, and then it holds. And then we're going to do 2 chains like this, and now you have it secure. So now you can let go of it, right? And the magic loop only works if you work over both the loop and the short tail that is going here to the left. Obviously, if you're left-handed, then it's vice versa. Okay, and so the first row is just these 2 chains and 5 double crochets inside the magic loop. Okay, so we yarn over inside the magic loop. Take care to work over your tail as well. And we do 1 and 2 3, 4, and 5. So that's the first row. You do the magic loop, you do 2 chains, and then 5 double crochets inside the magic loop. And we're not going to pull it together until we have finished row 2. Okay, that's row 1. On to row 2. And really the only difference between the bib and the shawl is that instead of making the traditional 3 chains at the beginning of each row, we're just going to make 2. Just so that because we want it to curve up a bit more so that it's really hugging the neck of the tiny little baby. So, and then obviously we add the strings. Okay, so on to row 2, and we're going to start the row as always now with 1 and 2 chains, and you want to do those rather tightly, and then you turn, and now we're going to work 2 double crochets in between the first 2 double crochets here. So not into the stitch, but in between, like so. 1 and 2, and then 2 in between the next 2. Here, you see, I'm going in between, in the space, the DC space, it's called a double crochet space, the space in between 2 double crochets. So 2 into the next space as well. 1 and 2. Now we are setting up for the V stitch, one of my favorite stitches. And then we get to the middle part, the center, and now we're going to work 3 double crochets here in between the next 2 double crochets. 1 and 2 and 3. So that's the center, so that will be like the this bit here, you know, have to do an increase there. And then in between the next 2, we're going to do 2 double crochets again. So we find the double crochet space here, and you see it's nice not to draw in your magic loop until we finish this one, so it's easier to get into those spaces, right? Okay, 2 in between the next 2. And then 3 in between the next 2. And actually the next 2 are the 2 chains, the last DC and the 2 chains here. Okay, and then we're going to do 3 again. 1, 2, and 3. Okay, and now we're going to pull our magic loop together. I always love this bit. Woo! And we have a tiny little start for our bib. On to row 3, and I actually want to show you, because this pattern comes with a symbol drawing. So here we have the crochet symbols drawing up, and I really like using these. They're so clear, so you can really crochet from any language. It's universal. So here you see these here, the little circles, these are the chains. And then the symbol for a double crochet is like a T with an extra, you know, because it's yarn over once, yeah? And so here you see we did the 2 chains, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 double crochets, and then we did 2 chains, 2 double crochets in between these 2, 2 double crochets in between these 2, 3 double crochets in between here, and 2 and 3, okay? So if we continue here, now we see we're going to do 2 double crochets here, and then we're going to do 2 double crochets in between the first 2, 2 in between the second, and then we skip 1 space, and we do 2 here, skip 1 space, and 2 here. You see, I really like these, I really like working with these. I try to include them in my patterns when it's not mosaic crochet, obviously, and I really like working with them myself. Prefer those to the written ones, actually. So let's get to it, to row 3, and now we start. And that's the drawing is included in the pattern, obviously. So again, we start with 2 chains, for row 3, and now we're going to do 2 double crochets into the first DC space, 1 and 2, and then 2 double crochets into the second space here, 1 and 2, and then we're going to skip one space, because in the V-stitch you're only working into the V's sort of. So you see these here are 2 double crochets that are worked into the same space, so they form a V. But in between these two here it sort of looks squares, because this one and this one are not worked into the same space. So we're never going to work into those boxy spaces, we're just going to work into the V's. So now we skip one space and do 2 double crochets into the next one, 1 and 2. And then we skip the next space here, because that's a square, and we do 2 double crochets into the next space. And now we're actually at the center. And for row 3, we don't do, we just do 1 chain here, it's the center chain, and then we do 2 double crochets into the next space. So here in the middle part we're not skipping a space, we're going into 2 in a row, right? Because these 3 actually were worked into the same space. Okay, and then we skip one space and do 2 in the next one, 1 and 2, skip one space and do 2 in the next one and 3 in the last one. Okay, skip and 2 into this one, and then 3 into the last space, because we're always doing an increase at the beginning, at the center, and at the end of the piece. 2 and 3. So that's row 3 all done. On to row 4. Just seeing that it's all correct here. We have 3 and then 2 and 2 and 2. Yeah. And you should always obviously have it the same amount of stitches on this side and on this side. Yeah. Okay, on to row 4. Let's just pull out some yarn here to work with. And we start with 2 chains and do those 2 just rather tightly, and we turn and we yarn over, and we're going to do 2 double crochets into the first space and 2 double crochets into the second one, and then we skip one space and do 2 double crochets into the next one, into the V. Okay, again we skip the square space and go into the next V and do 2 double crochets there. Skip the next one, 2 into the next V. And now we have come to the center chain, and into the center chain here in row 4 we're going to do 3 double crochets. 1, 2 and 3. Okay, and then the second part is obviously just a mirroring of what we have done already, but we're just going to go through it. This is a beginner friendly tutorial, so I'm just going to do it all with you. So we yarn over and into the next space here, the V here, we're going to do 2 double crochets. So here in the middle part we've worked into 3 spaces in a row, right? And this is the only occasion where we work into a space which is not a V-stitch space here when we work into the center chain in the middle, because we're doing an increase, right? Okay, we did 2 here in the next space, and then we're going to skip one space and 2 into the next one. 1 and 2. Skip 1, 2 into the next one. Always into the V's. No squares. And again, we skip 1, and now we come up to the 3 double crochets here in a row, which is actually 2 double crochets and the 2 chains here. And we just skip this one space here, and we're going to do 2 into the next space. And then 3 into the last space. And what's really just great about the V-stitch, obviously, is that you're working always into the spaces and not into the loops. So it's really easy. You can just really, you don't, after a while, you don't even have to look at what you're doing. You can just feel where it's going, right? So that's row 4, all done. On to row 5. Start with 2 chains as always, 2 double crochets into the first DC space, 2 double crochets into the next one. And now actually, like in the pattern, the written instructions just go up to row 6. I'm going to show you all the way up to row 10 here, just to show you the complete thing. But we're getting to the repetition, right? So the repetition now is just skip 1 space, 2 double crochets into the next one until you get to the center, right? So skip 1, 2 into the next one. Skip 1, 2 into the next one. Easy peasy. Skip 1, 2 into the next one. Skip 1, 2 into the next one. Skip 1, 2 into the next one. And now you see we're working into the center 3 double crochets here. So now we do 2 into the next one. And now we're at the center bit, and in row 5 and all odd number rows we work the center chain. 1 chain, and then we go straight into the next stitch here. We're not going to skip any spaces here in the center, so we do 2 in the first, in between 1 and 2 here, 1 chain, and then 2 double crochets in the space between 2 and 3, right? 1 and 2. And actually, maybe it's even better to show you on the drawing. So if we are here in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you see here we have the 3 double crochets in the center here from last row, from row 4. And now we do 2 double crochets in between 1 and 2, chain 1 here, which is the center chain, and then 2 double crochets in between 2 and 3, right? It's really, I mean, I love working with the charts. They really are very descriptive. And now we continue again with our repeat, which is to skip 1 space and 2 into the next one. So now we skip this one and do 2 into the next V space, 1 and 2, skip 1, 2 into the next one, 1 and 2, skip 1, 2 into the next one, skip 1, 2 into the next one, and then we skip 1 here, and now we're up to the end where we have the 3 double crochets in a row. So we skip 1, do 2 into the next one, next space, 1 and 2, and 3 into the last one. Okay, 1, 2, and 3. So there you go, that's row 5 all done. And as you can see, it's bulging a bit like this, but that's okay because we're kind of making it go, we want it to go up. And so when we block it, wet block it later, then we'll just make it all flat. But you see, we want it to go this because it's supposed to be round and curvy to go around the baby's neck, right? Okay, that's row 5 all done. On to row 6. Let's get some yarn. And again, it's 2 chains. And so the repeat of the written pattern is just row 5 and 6 again and again. And the only difference between row 5 and 6 is in the center. Yeah, everything up to the center is the same. And I did this because I don't want a very steep increase in the center bit, because I like it to be a bit round like this. You know, I don't want it to be completely a corner here. I want it to be a bit round. So that's why I'm doing less increase every other row, right? Okay, so row 6, 2 chains, turn our piece around, and we do as always 2 double crochets into the first space, 1 and 2. And if you're wondering that at the end of the row, we always do 3 double crochets in the last space. So in the first space, really with the 2 chains, that's the first, that's the substitute for the first DC. Normally for a DC, you do 3 chains like in the shawl, but we're making it more curvy, so we just do 2. So basically we have 3 double crochets here now, or the equivalent of that. Okay, 2 double crochets into the next space, and now we have finished with our increase bit at the beginning of the row. And now again we have the same repeat as always. Skip 1 space and work 2 double crochets into the next DC space here. So skip the square one, work into the triangle looking one, the V one, and now we repeat this until we get to the center. Okay, so that was skip 1, 2 double crochets into the next one, skip 1, 2 into the next one. This is a very skip 2, obviously repetitive. Oh my god, me and my English. It's lovely because you learn it quickly. You see, it's just using other words, like not trying to say something that you can't. Skip 1, 2 into the next one. Skip 1, 2 into the V. And it's so nice not to be working into stitches, just into the spaces, right? Skip 1 and 2 into the next V. Okay, so here we have done the beginning here, and then we did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 V's. And now we're up to the middle, the center chain here, and we're going to do 3 double crochets into the center chain. And this is, remember, the only exception of us working into a square looking space. We're not always working into the V's, but when we get to the center chain here, which is always in the even number rows, then we work into the center chain from the odd number rows, and then we're going to do 3 double crochets here. 1 and 2 and 3. And now when we go back, the repeat is 2 double crochets into the next space and skip 1 space. Skip 2 double crochets into the next space and skip a space. 2 into the next one. Just going to do a bit here because it's running out of yarn. And skip the next one, 2 into the V, 1 and 2, skip the next one, 2 into the V, skip the next one, 2 into the V, skip the next one, and now we're up to the 3 double crochets at the end of the row, and then we're going to do 2 double crochets in between the first 2 and 3 and 2 in between 2 and 3. Okay, so we finish our repetition by skipping 1, and then we do 2 double crochets into the next space and 3 double crochets into the last space to have our increase here. Okay, so that is row 6, all done. And again, don't worry if it's bulging a bit, it'll all straighten out once we block it. Okay, and now we do number 7. So that is 1 and 2 chains as always, and again we have the same repeat. 2 double crochets into the first 2 spaces. Always start the same. Oops, find the space and not split the yarn. There we go. 1 and 2 into the first space. 1 and 2 into the second. And here we're doing 2 spaces in a row because we're increasing, right? And then we get to the repeat, which is skip 1 space and work 1 2 double crochets into the next one. 1 and 2, skip and 2, and we do this until we get to the center bit. I guess I don't need to show you all of this, but I mean, it's just 4 more rows and it's so quick, so why not? Skip and 2, skip and 2. I really like these because they're kind of, because you have all these lovely looking, obviously, crochet bibs, but these are really good for, because I'm a boy's mum, so these work obviously for both girls and boys, but I really like, they look sort of bandana-like, you know, they're a bit, they're kind of cool, kind of hip. They really are very good for both boys and girls, but like especially you have all these cute ones that are very frilly for girls, and sometimes you need something for boys, and I think these are perfect for boys as well. So I really like the form of these. Okay, so now we've done the 2 in the beginning, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 V's here, and it's a good thing, you know, so the repeat between the increase at the beginning of the row and the increase in the center, you always have these the same amount of V stitches as your row. So here we have the 2 in the beginning, and then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 V's, and we're on row 7. So that's good to remember. And obviously you want to have the same number of stitches on each side from the center. Okay, and now we get to our 3 center double crochets here, and we're going to work 2 double crochets in between the first 2, the center chain, and then 2 into the second 2. Okay, I mean in between the second 2. 1 and 2, 1 chain, and 1 and 2 into the next one. So now we've done the increase in the middle, and now we have again 7 repeats here of V stitches before we get to the increase at the end of the row. So we skip 1 space and do 2 DCs into the next one, skip and 2, all the way until we get to the group of 3 DCs at the end of the row, right? And it's so good to have a go-to pattern like this. I mean, just it's nice to, I can't be making blankets for everyone, right? But it's such a nice touch to include something handmade in a newly born present, right? I mean, it's just this extra showing of love to make something properly just for this new individual. Isn't it lovely? Yeah, I'm making these for my little niece, actually. I think they're called like second niece. She's the daughter of my cousin, so I don't know what you call this in English. We just have one word for everything in Icelandic, and we're all kind of related, so she's just my frænka. Okay, so we skip this one, and then now we skip the last space here before the 3 double crochets in a row, and we do 2 here in between the first 2, 1 and 2, and then 3 into the last space. Okay. There we go, and that's row 7 all done. On to row 8, and I actually hadn't prepared for this, but I was just thinking, since I'm doing 8, 9, 10 with you, we should change color and do like a little accentuation, because the fun thing about the V-stitches that you get if you do stripes, then they get like these zigzag look, right? Like I said, surprise, surprise, I wasn't prepared for this, so I don't have another color that goes with this one in the same yarn. So I have this beautiful antique peak here in Shepherd's Cantona. It's slightly thicker, but that's all right. I'm just going to do 1 row in this, and this is just for decoration. So I'm going to show you how to change colors as well, right? So it's obviously easier if you're just doing it for the first time. Just go ahead and just do it. Or if you're a beginner, I would just do it in 1 row, because then you don't have to weave in. You just have 2 ends at the end to weave in, which is lovely. But it is really nice to have this little zigzag. So when you change colors, then you do it at the last step of the last stitch before you want your new color to come in. So I'm going to go ahead here and undo the last, just the last step of the last DC from last row. right? So I'm just going to finish that stitch with the new color. And we cut, and you always want to leave about 10 centimeters. That is 4 inches of yarn to weave in your ends. And we're going to use the slightly thicker, unprepared, beautiful antique pink in Katona for this row 8 to get that accentuating zigzag. Fun bit. So the last stitch, the last step of the last stitch before you want your new color to come up. So you basically just finished the last stitch of the last row with the new color. And again, leave about 10 centimeters here of tail, and then you just pull through like this, and you finish it with that one. And then you see how the new color pops up at the right spot, yeah? And now we're just gonna do, again, 1 and 2 single crochet, and chains, and then we turn as always. Okay, and we just leave the tails here. We're going to work these, we'll weave these in later. And this row, as before, we're going to do 2 double crochets into the first space. And then 2 double crochets into the next space. And then it's the same repeat as we've been doing all along. Oh, these look lovely together, don't they? Unwind this a bit, so I have some yarn to work with. And we do the same repeat as always. Skip 1 space, 2 double crochet into the next space, which is the V space. And so even if this was not planned or on purpose, I do like to show you, you can mix yarns. I mean, it's fine. And if it's just similar weight, so to use up scraps for this is beautiful. For example, if you have a bit left of some cotton scraps, you can use those to get those really nice zigzag stripes into your little Kria bibs. So it's quite fine. I promise it will look nice even though it's slightly thicker. I hardly ever do a whole project with the same yarn. I mean, it's nice and all, but it's just when you have different types of yarn, then you have more colors, right? So, and also, I do have quite a magnificent stash, even if I say so myself. So, you want to use stuff that you have. And I actually buy yarn usually just by color. Okay, just one more skip and 2 here. And let's see if our theory from last row works, that we should have now, because we were on row 8, so we should have 8 V's after the 2 stitches here in the beginning of the increase. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. It does not work. So, yes. No, because, yeah, it's 7. No, it's 8, and then you get to the, yeah, sort of works, sort of not, but, you know. So we have now 9, is what I wanted to say. But you just do the repeat until you get to the center stitch, right? And now we have the center chain here, and we're going to do 3 double crochets into that one. And that's actually the reason why I like to do these color changes on the even number rows, because it looks better. I'll show you in a bit. Okay, so after we finish the 3 double crochets in the middle, then we just do 2 double crochets into the next space. Skip 1, 2 into the next one. Always the same. Skip 1, 2 into the next one. Skip 1, 2 into the next one. All the way until you get to the 3 double crochets at the end of the row. And this is obviously perfect for on-the-go project as well. Super tiny. You just need 1 or 2 balls of yarn, and quick and easy and nice to have on the go and during the summer. Okay, so that's the last one here before we get to our 3 double crochets at the end of the row. So we skip the last space here and do 2 double crochets here. to the first space here at the end, and then 3 into the last one, the next one. 1 and 2 and 3. And now we're going to change color again. So instead of finishing this last step of this last double crochet before changing colors, I cut the yarn and I introduce the old color, the other color, at the end here of the row. The last step of the last stitch before your new color is supposed to come up, pop up. So again, leave a bit of a tail there so it's easy to darn later, and then we finish this last DC here with the new color. Okay, so that is row 8 in a different color. Oh, they look lovely together. And I'm all excited about doing row 9 to see when the zigzags kick in. We have all these ends now, which is not as sexy, but you know, it'll all be worth it. That's row 8 all done. On to row 9, and that's the second to last row now before we finish, because we're just going to do the small version. And as always, we start here with 2 chains and we turn, and now we're going to see the zigzag happen. Okay, oh, this is fun. I'm so happy I decided to change colors. So 2 double crochets in between the first 2 DCs here into the first space. Whoop, it's split. There we go. No, it won't. Okay. Fuck me. There we go. 1 and no, I'm just gonna start that again. God, dear Lord. Okay, so 2 double crochets here into the first space. 1 and 2. And then we're gonna do 2 double crochets into the next space. And this is the increase, that's why we're doing 2 in a row. And now we go on to our repeat, which is skip 1 and 2 into the next one. 1 and 2, skip 1, 2 into the next one. Skip 1, 2 into the next one. And as you can see, our accentuating row now is looking like zigzags. So that's fun. And it's all just the same. Repeat, skip 1 space, work 2 into the V until we get to the center. Okay, I'm curious to see if now my theory works. So we have the 2 at the beginning. 2, 4, 6, 10. No, my theory does not work. But you just repeat until you get to the center bit. And here, because we are on an odd number row, then we get to the center bit that has the 3 in a row here. So we're going to do 2 double crochets in between the first 2, the center chain, and then 2 in between the next 2. So there's no skipping here in the middle bit, remember? Okay. And then we go again, skip and 2. Ship ahoy, ship ahoy. Papa. Dee 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 dee. Oh. So you know that the trick when you have like little knots in, just don't pull at it. Just don't. Pulling makes it so much worse. Easy does it. and skip and 2. All the way up this other side. This antique peak is really going beautifully with the peach. Okay, one more here, skip and 2, and then we skip the last square space, and now we're up to our 3 double crochet at the end of the row, and we do 2 in between the first 2 and 3 into the next one. 1 and 2 and 3. Yay! So that's row 9 all done, and you can see our lovely zigzaggy accentuation stripe here. Yay! So cute. I love making these little itsy bitsy tiny things. That's row 9, so on to row 10 in a minute. Okay, so on to row 10. That's the last row we're going to do in this one. Remember that you can make it any size you want to, but I recommend always finishing with an even number row. So this one here is 10 rows, and this is 12. Look, 12 is perfect for maybe toddlers, 10 for a newborn. So we're going to do the newborn one. So this is the last row that I will show you, and I never remember to pull up my yarn in between takes, but that's all right, because nobody's perfect. Least of all me. Okay, concentrate. So we're on to the last row, and we're going to do 2 chains at the beginning of the row, and then we turn our piece, and as before we do 2 double crochets in the first space, 2 double crochets into the next one. Okay, and now we get to the repeats of skip 1, 2 double crochets into the next one. Always into the V's, since this is the V stitch. Actually, I have a cardigan pattern in this V stitch as well, the crochet cardigan. I have that done in English for grown-ups, but I do have it in baby sizes as well in Icelandic, so I should probably do that one in English translated. It's lovely. Again, the V-stitch is such a beautiful, nice stitch to work with, and it's so much fun to play with stripes in it because you get these zigzags. Okay. We need yarn. So like with one 50-gram ball like these, I will get like 3 bibs. So this is either great to buy 2 maybe and then work up a set and mix the colors a bit, or use leftovers, or you can make just a set of 3 in one color from one ball. At least in this yarn, the BC yarn that I showed you. But again, just, you know, any cotton that you can throw in the machine, just make sure it's machine washable, but any cotton will do. Okay, so now we're here up to the middle chain, center chain. Well, just one more here. Whoop. One more V, and we're up to the center chain, and into the center chain on the even rows, we're always making 3 double crochets. That's the center, and that makes it so that this here is more bandana looking, sort of smooth, and not like it's a round sort of end here. And then we go again and we do 2 double crochets into the next space and skip 1, skip 2, skip 2. Yes, 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 yes. Again, not even sure anybody's watching anymore at this point, but it's just, It's it was two. Why skip 2 rows really? And so at the end of this row, we do the last row, which is the border at the top and the strings just in continuous. We don't break the yarn unless you want to change color or something, which I don't usually do, because then I don't have fewer ends to weave in, and I think it's just clean and nice to have the same color. Like so. Okay, almost up to the end here. Oop, split. There we go. Okay, so now we're up to the end here. We skip the last space and then we have the 3 in a row here, and we're going to do 2 double crochet in between the first 2 and 3 DCs into the last one. 1 and 2 and 3. And that's row 10 done. Again, please do not break the yarn. Just going to lay it down so we see what we have here. It's so cute. And before I do the strings and everything, I'm just going to work in my tails there so that they won't be in the way. Okay, so that's row 10 all done. Please don't break the yarn. And now we continue. Okay, so actually when you're doing the one color version, then you don't even have to do this. Then I will always just work over this tail here. But since we're doing these here, I just want to work these in actually before it's nicer. So I'll just show you how we do it. So we end from this side here from 10, so that will be the front size of the bib, you see, so that we have these nice stitches here. So we're going to be doing our darning on the back side, yeah. And then maybe sometimes we give things to people who don't know the difference between the front and the back side, and well, we just have to live with that. So just take, I always like to do maybe 2 or 3 movements in the darning. Just take care to do it in the same color bit. And then we just go up here. It's just taking it up a few stitches here where we can hide it. But I do think it's nice to have like 2 or 3 movements for each tail, then you know it's nicely secured. And then we snippity snap. And the same for this one. And you do want to maybe pull it together a bit. Like so. And hide it here in the same color. Like so. And I like to do like 1 step back and then go front again, and then it's really nicely secured. Like so. Cut. Okay, that's one side done. I'm just going to work over this tail here in the middle bit. And we do the same with the other 2 tails here. Okay, all done with the darning. Again, if you didn't change colors, then you don't really need to darn this one here in. We'll just work over it. Okay, yay, it's looking great. And then next up are the strings. Okay, so like I said, we do not break the yarn from row 10 if we're making the small one, or 12. For the bigger one, we just make it in continuance. So do not break the yarn from the last row of the bib itself. We work the strings in continuance. So for the strings, and this really, I actually make the same size for the small and the big one. I will chain up 61 chains, and you don't want to do this too tightly, okay? So we're going to do 61 chains up here for the first string. 59, 60, and 61. And if you can just see, the cord will then, once we work back, it will shorten a bit. So you will want to make it, if you're making another size or whatever, you will want to make the cord a bit longer with the chain stitches, then it will shrink a bit. And now we work back into those chain stitches. And I mean, you can double check and see if you have actually 61. It's okay if it's 59 and 61, unless you have some sort of severe OCD. And then that's okay, right? As well, if you want to have exact. But I will do 61, and I don't, one stitch more or less is not going to do any difference. Okay, so now then we work back 60 slip stitches into each and every chain. So not into the first one, because we're coming out of that one. So we skip this first one, and then you just work slip stitches into all the chains. And slip stitch is the smallest stitch, like this, where you just go into the loop, pull up your yarn, and pull it right through the loop that is on your hook. Yeah, into the loop, pull up the yarn, and right through the back. And again, you don't want to do this too tightly, just with a nice even tension. We do this into each and every stitch back, so that should be 60 slip stitches back. Okay, almost the whole way. This is a bit tedious, I will grant you that, but you do get a really nice cord when you do it like this, and it's way more sturdy than just doing chains. I mean, that's not very nice finish. So we always go the extra mile for some nice finishing touches. Am I right? I can't hear you, am I right? Okay, so here we just have 2 chains left. 1 and 2, and that's the first string done. And now we're going to work single crochets all over the top bit here of the bib, and we are going to do that with a repetition of 2 single crochets here into the next, it's around the DC here from the top bit here, and then 1 single crochet into the next space, which is actually the chains, the 2 chains. So it's 2 and to the next one, and 1, 2, and 1, 2, and 1, 2, and 1. And now we're here at the center, and this is the magic loop here. We're just not going to do anything into that one. And now we're going to work over this, just tighten it very nicely here, and we're going to lay it here, and we're going to work over it as we go with a single crochet here. So we did 1 next, and we're going to skip the magic loop because it's completely closed. We're not even supposed to be able to work into it. and we go again 2 single crochets and 1 and 2, and I'm working over my tail as well, right? And 1 and 2. Whoop. That was my sign for dropping the tail, I think. Did 2 and then 1 and then 2 and 1 and 2 and 1. Okay, and you see now that the border here on the top is pulled even more together. That's why it's warping a bit like this, and it's really nice to close it up like this, and then it matches the bottom bit, right? And then we just do the second string exactly the same. So you chain up 61 stitches and then do slip stitches 60 stitches back. I'm going to do that, and I'm going to show you then how to close it up. Go, go, go! Okay, so I've done the second string here exactly as the first one. And I just have 2 more slip stitches here to go because I want to show you how to make a neat finish. So we do 1 here and 1 here. And then we're going to cut the yarn with a generous tail. If I find my scissors, they're here. Whoop. And pull the yarn straight up like this. And then we do the last stitch with the invisible stitch sewed in. So it will be completely seamless. Okay, so it's like this. And then here you have the first stitch of the bib here. And we're going to go over that one, and we're going to put our needle under the next stitch, stitch number 2. And go like this. Whoop. Like this, and then we're going to go into the last slip stitch here where our tail is coming out of, like so. And then we have a totally seamless finish from the cord and to the side of the bib. La 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 la. Honestly, no, nothing better than neat finish. Maybe cheese, but like neat finish and cheese. Up there together. Okay, so now we just need to darn this last tail in here, and you want to take care to not pull at it too tightly, because we want our stitch the finals, the invisible stitch there to be perfect and in sync with the other ones, right? Just like so. And I'm going to do a second motion here. And the third just to be sure. Okay. And snippity snap. And we already worked over our other tail, so just tug at it once more and cut that too. And voila, we're all done. Hee hee, isn't it cute? And as you can see, it's like a bit warped. So I'm going to show you how we wet block it so that it will look like his fella here. Okay, yay, all done now, just the blocking. Okay, so we don't even need pins for this blocking because it's really easy, but you will need some sort of underlaying situation. This is a blocking mat. So I just wet it completely, and so you want to wet it completely, and you can see it on the color of the yarn if there are any bits that aren't wet enough. And just take care not to wring it. Wring it. I'm saying this right? Just when it's all completely wet all through, just squeeze the water out of it like this. Not, we don't want to be twisting it and wringing it. So, okay, so now it's completely wet, and then we're just going to lay it all out like so. and you see it just takes form immediately. So wetting yarn, especially natural fibers, is just like magic, really. Like, so, and I am a sort of square person, so when I do this I like to lay it out like this, so that they're all the nice stitches up, stitches like so. Oopa. Okay, and just any sort of, like, if you feel that this isn't straight enough, just, you know, just go like this. So this is, I love blocking. I think blocking is just absolute magic. It makes everything just go from okay to ducking brilliant, you know, and just makes it look so much more professional and nice. And in this case, actually, it's kind of important to do it because we're doing this extra tight thing here at the neckline, so we really wanted to sit nicely. We kind of need to block this one. Okay. Okay, and so just, you know, look at it. If it's, you can just go like this and just make it really pretty so that the new parents will be happy to use it. Et voila! Isn't it nice? It doesn't have to be completely perfect, but you see, it really closes up quite nicely like this, and obviously that is something that you want in a bib. Okay, so now it looks more like its brother here. That's it, and then you just wait for it to dry, and yeah, that's all there is today, really. So now we have both the Kria shawl and the Kria Bibben all ready and filmed. I'm so happy. And I can't wait to see your bibs, you guys. So please remember to tag me on social media if and when you post some pics. And join the group, of course. That's it. Ciao.